Hi guys. So today we are going to talk about my independent reading project, A Wrinkle in Time. So the author of A Wrinkle in Time is Madeline L'Engle. Um, she's a very talented author, even since she was very little, even at the age of 5. And once during a poetry contest, when she was in grade school, she won so far ahead than the others, they had to double check to see if she cheated. And I know that when I was 5, I was not writing poetry. I was probably coloring on the walls. Um, One quote from her about being a writer is, "I've been a writer ever since I could hold a pencil," which is very impressive. So, overall, Lungel, before we get into it, I just want to say she was a very fascinating author and had a gift. In addition to her hard work of getting to her dreams. However, in addition, there have been a total of five books in the set of A Wrinkle in Time. The second one being A Wind in the Door, and yada yada yada. Um, what we see here is success, right? But with every artist, there are times where they struggle. And yes, unfortunately, there was much trouble getting the first published. This was because, well, actually, there was two books, or three or four or five, six. There was a lot of books that she tried to get published, but for example, she tried to get um, this certain book in trouble to get past, which was denied very many times, and she decided, you know what, I'm gonna write something different. I'm gonna write A Wrinkle in Time, and she used some of those aspects that she already had in her life. For example, she took from her heart a bit to place into the characters. For example, Meg is a huge symbolic character for Langell, and Langell definitely added some of her personality into the character Meg. So more about A Wrinkle in Time. Some of the basic stuff is who's the protagonist? Definitely Meg, 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 and Meg. Meg, 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 Meg. In addition to her two friends, Charles and Calvin, of course. Um, some of the ways that Meg was a good leader is she deeply cares about her friends and family. And this could be kind of a double-edged sword of, you know, blessing and curse. But she held a very stubbornness for what she thought was right. And like I said, those attributes most likely transferred from Langell to Meg as a character. And so, who is the villain? We have two main villains in the story, It the Brain and the Black Thing. It the Brain is a character that our triage comes in contact to, throughout the middle slash end of the book. And it really is just a giant brain that controls the people and I guess its subjects, um, using mind control and hypnosis and things like that. And the gang definitely has to deal with breaking out of the brain spell. The second villain is the Black Thing, which is a more elusive, um, more elusive um, type of villain, which summarizes kind of the black cloud or the shadow over them of negativity and of just problems, issues, darkness, and things like that that the gang has to overcome. In addition, my webcam's covering up a couple letters, but we'll be okay. Why the appeal to other books? Well, in our English class this summer session, we have read a lot of fantasy and a lot of fiction styled towards children's literature, hence the class name, of course, which makes sense. But the book is very much written like a fantasy fiction. For example, there's the magic, there's talking creatures, there are innocent creatures, innocent people that are facing a common evil. And some of the important impacts, definitely for sure, is um, all of the symbolism that's like sprinkled in with the story. For example, you could argue that the brain, is um, maybe the government or something like that. However, the most important part of fantasy and fiction, most times, is the symbolism for a lesson or moral learn. And I think we definitely come across that as the gang goes through their adventures, facing it, trying to find their dad, and the black thing. Let me make sure I said that right. Yeah, the black thing. Okay. Now, in addition, um, we go back to some of the more facts about the author. Now, like I said before, she struggled and struggled and struggled to find a good publisher that would take her on. And the first book she tried working on for years before A Wrinkle in Time was called Lost in Time. And eventually, after so many rejections, she said, I've had enough. She called it a sign from God and she was just like, maybe I can't do this reader thing. Maybe I am not as good of a writer as I think I am. Fortunately, that guilt and that rejection kind of intertwined together to make her stronger. And she kept going and going and going and rejected that rejection so that she could get a one of her books out. She really wanted to be a publisher. We already talked about her authenticity and perhaps childhood comparisons to Langell and Meg in A Wrinkle in Time. She even said in an interview that Meg was very closely built to who she is as well. Now, moving on, we have a couple book comparisons. There is definitely so many comparisons, but I found these two books that I would say have um, the most comparison along with them. We have The Wizard of Oz and Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. So just like A Wrinkle in Time, The Wizard of Oz, the reader and the protagonist, enjoys um, or disenjoys all of the change from traveling to this new magical world where they're on their own. And yes, new magical worlds as things go on. And they end up fighting a common evil or perhaps a common negative character. For example, in The Wizard of Oz, we have the witch. Alice's in Wonderland, we have the queen. And some of the side characters are pretty malicious too in the Adventures Wonderland, but the main thing is these two fantasies definitely fall in line with A Wrinkle in Time. Even if A Wrinkle in Time seems more structured than these two books, it definitely follows the fantasy fiction, lesson and moral kind of attraction. For example, let's do one example for each because I don't want to make this video like 10 minutes long. um, for one example of a lesson in The Wizard of Oz is, you can't do everything on your own. Is that you're gonna need some help. Help from someone you love, help from someone you care about. And that's definitely what goes with Dorothy, is she gets whisked to this place where everything's topsy-turvy, like Alice, and she realizes that she needs to make friends. And Langell did have trouble making friends as she grew up from K through 12, and there's a definite connection there from her and Dorothy. Now for Alice, okay, I am back. this will have to be part two of the video. Um, I like how the second I just said it might run out on me, it runs out. Kind of jinx myself. Anyway, the point is there are definite connections between many of the fantasy or fiction or combination books. And Alice in Wonderland, she doesn't really make friends necessarily. She makes friends with the cats, or the cashmere cat. Um, she definitely meets a lot of people, but really I don't know if she would call many her friends. So, the synopsis of the story, I'm gonna try to do this quick, because Bandicam will kick me out at 10 minutes, and it just did. Um, so in Alice in Wonderland, we have a young girl who falls into a rabbit hole and discovers new magical world where things are topsy-turvy. This is definitely a big connection to Wrinkle in Time because they literally go to a magical place and step out of their own reality. The Wizard of Oz is also great uh, fantasy, not fancy, with Dorothy leaving bleak Kansas to be whisked away by creatures and fun and the same topsy-turvy environment. And in this case, and A Wrinkle in Time, uh, this is where friends are made, and that kind of comes with the connection with A Wrinkle in Time. And that is all I have for today. However, I would like to have a brief conclusion. Overall, A Wrinkle in Time is a classic book that focuses on an overarching theme of loneliness, frustration, childhood frustration, angst, and many other um, fantasy fiction aspects that we tend to overlook when are not analyzing our reading. A Wrinkle in Time fits, I think fits like a glove into a lot of these categories, and um, is a good book that I think everyone should read. Uh, so in conclusion, we do have this book was a lot to analyze, but I had a lot of fun, and I definitely do recommend that you check out this book. And thank you for watching this long, this long video. I did not expect it to go this long, but thank you still. And I hope you have a good day.